Hey, this is Kat from Red Mountain Shaman, and I share shamanic wisdom through dreams, visions, nature, synchronicities, intuition, channeling, art, music, photography, and shamanic journeys. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about a few synchronicities I had with last week's video. And before I get into that, I just wanted to add one more thing. I mentioned last time somebody asked how I know I'm not channeling demons. So I explained that I set intentions to be protected from that. And I try to keep a high vibration so I'm not an energetic match to those kind of frequencies. And another thing is that I'm not like channeling in the sense that I allow my consciousness to be set aside and I let something else come in. My consciousness is always here. So I'm co-creating these channelings. And so how it works for me is it's more of a telepathic transmission. So I'm actually hearing the other being speaking to me through my clairaudience, I guess you could say, and my clairknowing. Or clairsentience, and I feel and I know the words and I can hear them coming in. So it's more of like a telepathic communication with the being. It's not that I just allow them into my body. I just wanted to make that clear that if anybody has a question about how I do things. Okay, so one of the synchronicities I wanted to mention was last week I talked about the fact that Budapest kept coming into my awareness, and it came into somebody's past life last week, and I was told that this region is protected and it's kind of become like a time capsule for the old civilization that we've kind of lost and forgotten how to create. And so I decided to look up this town because I don't know much about it, or city. And I found this channel called My Lunch Break, and he talks a lot about the Tartarian civilization. And he mentioned the same thing that I said, that this region, he said, I wonder if this region is somehow protected. It feels like it's supernaturally protected. So it was kind of cool that somebody else kind of had that feeling from spirit. The next synchronicity was, I remember in my last video, I said that I felt that there would be some sort of gift on the solstice. And that spirit at that time wouldn't allow me to open the gift and see what was in it. And then this week, Magenta Pixie has on her channel a video about a gift being given on the solstice. So her gift, you'll have to go, she speaks a lot in kind of metaphors, so she doesn't get her channel taken down. I think she does it more than she really needs to, but she talks about the gift. So if you want to go check out that video, it's not her last video from yesterday. She had a dream about Trump yesterday, but it's the video right before that. So that was pretty interesting. And then another thing that might have to do with that was that our car, Spirit told me to go buy a car, and I had found the perfect car that, within a couple of weeks, I found the perfect car. It was almost like Spirit was like saying, yes, your car is out there, go get it now. So now our other car is so old that the transmission is starting to go. So I was, going, well, we need to get a car now. This thing is going to die. And then I just heard Spirit say, no, get your car after Christmas. And so I'm wondering if it also has to do with any kind of some sort of financial reset that's coming. I'm not sure yet. So we'll see what that has to do with. So another thing was, if you guys are familiar with Gaia, when I first started waking up, I was watching Gaia a lot. And then I kind of started getting the feeling that some of the programs and people on there were very compromised. And then today I heard somebody say that BlackRock owns part of Gaia. So I was like, oh no. So I think that channel is really compromised. So I haven't watched it in years, but anyway, Billy Carson has been really being called out lately by the Christian community. And they're calling out like very specific lies that he has said. And I'm not going to say what I think about Billy Carson. You can just feel into that yourself. But these kind of traditional Christians are also going off of the Bible. And so I like to always take the middle path, because I also think that the Bible is compromised, because, the Council of Nicaea and King James was, if you look into who King James was, he was not a good guy by any means. And so the Bible has been countlessly revised, and so much of the really pertinent books have been removed from it. So I think the Bible is also compromised. So, and it's not that there's no truth in the Bible, and that there's no truth in Billy Carson's thing that he's saying. So for me, taking the middle path just means not going to extremes and saying, oh, I'm just going to only rely on the Bible, or I'm just going to only rely on this new age guru. It's like taking the middle path and using your own discernment and going with it and saying, okay, what resonates for me? And what is this person saying that feels true? And what is the Bible saying that feels true or not true? So the middle path, I think, is a really powerful way to go. And this goes back a long ways. And I think it's also kind of related to Buddhism. And then another thing that I kept getting this week is Hinduism, and that there is a lot of truth in Hinduism. And so, like anything, I'm not saying that every single thing in Hinduism is true, or like with any channels that I recommend, I'm not saying every single thing that person is saying is true. So always go within and see what's true for you, because Yeshua says the kingdom is within you. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was my opinion on all the drones and aliens, and as opposed to our galactic star family. So I've said this about 2 years ago, I was talking about this. And in my opinion, I feel like the word alien and the aliens are the negative ones, because they're alien to who we are. I feel like they kind of like messed up and didn't really pass initiations, and so their DNA has regressed, and that's why they are seeking the angelic DNA, the higher human DNA, and their organic DNA. So be aware of that, and I think that there is a lot of PSYOPS going on, and a galactic being who is like the star family, or who is an ascended being, will have a Merkaba body. And they're pure light, so it'll look different. They don't need like metal spaceships. So that's my own opinion on that. So go ahead and feel into that yourself. And I'm going to ask about that in today's message as well. And I also feel like there's a lot of government PSYOPs going on too, and that they are probably partnering, some of the shadow government probably partners with these darker alien forces. And this did come through in somebody's session about 2 months ago. They were asking about the aliens coming through, and that's what Spirit told me, was that there's both good, and just like on the earth, there's like good people, and then there's people who seem kind of like they don't have much of a soul, and there isn't a lot of light in there. So it's the same with galactic beings. There's ones that are not connected to source, and then there's ones that are ascended beings, ones that have a lot of light and are the good ones. So it's up to us to kind of feel into that, I think. And I'm going to ask about that in today's message. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was a vision that I had in my own shamanic journey. And in this vision, I looked up, and there was a Roman soldier, and he looked so tall, because I was on the ground and he had his boot on my neck, and I just looked up at him, and he had like the big Roman helmets with the feather kind of thing, kind of the red mohawk going over. So that's how I knew it was a Roman. But then all of a sudden, my soul just got huge, and I just kept growing and growing and growing. And it almost felt like I was as big as, or bigger than, one of those big, huge balloons in the Thanksgiving Day parades. It kind of felt like that. And then I just reached down and I picked up the Roman soldier, and he was like a little guy in my hand. And I just blew on him, and he just turned to dust. So that was, to me, some sort of symbolic thing. And I want to ask a little bit about that today. I think I know what it means, but we'll see what comes through today. And then also I wanted to ask, somebody asked me about the Vatican opening portals on Christmas. And then I also saw a castle in the etheric realm. It felt very much like one of these old world buildings, but it was in the etheric. So I wanted to ask, like, why am I seeing that? And then I heard in somebody's session, Star of Bethlehem. So I wanted to ask about that. And then also I got that there is a lot of truth in the Hindu spirituality and the Vedic medicine and some of their books. I really don't know much about Hinduism at all. I grew up more in the Mormon faith. But what I'm getting from Spirit is that this is a very ancient spirituality and that there is a lot of truth in it. So maybe something about that would come through today too. So when I tuned in and I was asking what being would like to come and give their wisdom today, it was Ganesha, and that made a lot of sense after I kept getting so many Hindu messages this week. Also, I kept seeing that the Om symbol several times in a couple people's sessions that came through too. So we'll see what he says. Enjoy. Greetings, beloved friends of the light. I come forward at this time of great awakening and great illusion in order to bring forth my own perspectives from a place of love and from my own wisdom. It has been brought to our attention that there are many in fear because of the drone and UFO sightings that seem to be ramping up on your planet. This is a combination of things, including trickery and deception. So, we advise you to go within when viewing these things and use your discernment through the heart center, and not to fall into either fear or excitement, so that you can remain grounded in your perceptions. Beings of light can sometimes be seen as pure light, but more often than not, your connection with the beings of light is through the pineal gland and through the spiritual gifts of sight, through the spiritual eyes and telepathic communication. Your spiritual eyes see what is in alignment with your frequency. You invite what you are a match to energetically. Raise your frequency and you raise the caliber of the beings you connect with. This is why it is important to keep the body clear of contaminants and be aware of the media and entertainment you choose to engage with. I would add that things such as drugs and alcohol that alter your consciousness can also alter your frequency and thus alter what you become an energetic match to. It has been said that love begets love and hate begets hate, and this is to simplify what I am speaking of. When you project love out into the world, this love comes back to you, much like a toroidal field. Many frequencies are rising to the surface at this time that are needed to be seen in order to be cleared. Some of these prominent frequencies are that of illusion, deception, and separation. As these old frequencies rise to be cleared, they are sometimes brought to the surface for all to see and experience. When we see with our spiritual eyes, we see past the illusions of this world, and we connect with the wisdom of our true self, or our higher self. We begin to feel into the heart center for what resonates as truth with our soul. The spiritual eyes are the eyes of the soul's higher wisdom. As you begin to see with the spiritual eyes, you begin to discern truth. And this takes practice, my friends. But now is the time when this practice is needed, as you are being given opportunities to use your new sight. The veils of illusion are thinning. Your third eye is developing. You are remembering. You are beginning to see with more clarity. Even the people you may have once thought of as more spiritually intelligent than you are now showing their deceptions. There is no book or spiritual authority outside of yourself that can manipulate you when you search deep within yourself and connect to the kingdom within you and the Great Spirit for truth. Yes, there are wisdom holders who have come to serve and volunteer, but a true keeper of these wisdom keys will always bring you back to the sovereignty within yourself. Remember your majesty and power as your soul grows in consciousness. As the soul expands, as you saw in your vision, outside authority begins to diminish as dust in your hand. You become your own authority. Many false authorities will continue to be diminished, and what they have stolen and siphoned must be returned. As you begin to receive the means to rebuild, remember that what is created in the material realm must be created within the etheric realm first. You are bringing heaven to earth and pulling down the dreams and visions of the mind into the realm of matter. So quite literally, your thoughts create reality. Keep this in mind as you are given new opportunities to create anew. There have been many significant energy days this month, including the last full moon of the year, which closes out an old cycle. Also, Friday the 13th, which amplifies the divine feminine energy of intuition and creativity. The 12/12 day was partially a cosmic gateway into a new golden timeline, and humanity shall begin to see this timeline continue to be activated. The solstice is another extremely powerful door to higher consciousness, abundance, prosperity, unity, and as it has been said, this solstice gateway on the 21st of December holds the 777 frequency of miracles, as well as the golden Christos light. And in this sense, it is no wonder that this time of year has been heralded in many traditions, including those that were hijacked, demonized, and forgotten. The Roman control over spiritual narratives will be dissipating. Their time of concealing sacred knowledge is coming to a close. We are coming to the end of an arc of time, and the Ark of the Covenant will emerge in its true light. Artifacts and epochs hidden below the ground will emerge, and history will be clarified. Let the bells ring out, for the Christ light is being reborn. This is the star that the heavens gave to the Magi. The wisdom of the golden Christed light within themselves guided them to where they needed to be, and thus this star will guide any and all who seek it. A plasma star may also appear and connect to any who are in alignment with it. And when it appears, listen with the spiritual ears. For those who have spiritual eyes to see and spiritual ears to hear will know exactly how to move forward with grace, truth, and wisdom. For the music of the stars and the music of the spheres is something one can attune to as you continue to expand your consciousness and awareness of the subtle realms. Keep moving forward, my friends. Nothing can stop the light. Attune to its bandwidth, and you will be carried into a new dawn. So be it. I am Ganesha, bringer of love, remover of obstacles, bearer of light. Call on me when you need assistance and help in clearing the way, and I am happy to be of assistance. Namaste. Thank you, Ganesha. So one thing that came to mind while I was speaking this message was that the Vatican and the Pope opening these portals on Christmas Eve is really just going to be diminished into dust because our consciousness is rising so much. That just kind of like intuitively came to me, that as our souls are just expanding and our consciousness is expanding, these old guards are just keep diminishing, if that makes sense. So I am going to be a little bit excited for that because you can feel that there is like a big shift going on right now. So if you would like your own channeled message, energy work, readings, and more, please go to redmountainshaman.com and you can check out my services list, and you can text me to book a session. Have a great week. Sending you all love. Until next Sunday. Take care.